Gmon mysteries. Let's keep it going. Rat tosser. I mean lobber. He lobs the
Gary's
rats.
Mod is an insanely simple game. I feel like, honestly, just about anybody could wrap their head around how to play Gmod within just an hour. There's a cool-ass blue gun that can manipulate physics objects, a bunch of Half-Life 2 assets to play with, and a seemingly unlimited number of community-created add-ons for you to download.
Car. Look how epic this car is!
And then get bored of in like 30 minutes.
Unless you, of course, load it to the gills with tons of mods and NPCs and guns, and of course, don't forget the G bombs. Don't forget about the nukes and the emotion men. Yeah, tons of stuff to do.
Which is why it's so strange to me that Gary's Mod is home to so much mystery.
Ooh,
I go as far as to say that there are more mysteries concerning Gary's Mod and its community than basically any other video game ever. Urban legends, rumors, myths, reports of strange creatures lurking in the shadows of certain maps, or weird obscure
Of course, the shadow,
may not have ever even existed
the shadowy
in the first place.
GM construct
It's honestly a bit
beings.
shocking just how many Gary's Mod mysteries have come and gone in the nearly 20-year history of the game, and also just how many rumors and urban legends still get shared around in the community, even to this day. I personally think that while the idea of creepypastas and ARGs and Gmod are a little bit played out by this point,
yeah, a little.
Genuinely intriguing,
Also, that
gunslinger taken place in Gary's Mod over the years, and it'd be pretty silly to write all of them off as just being myths. So today, I've organized some of Gmod's most intriguing mysteries into one video, and I'm going to do my best to talk about each and every one. So, without any further ado,
lay it on me,
let's sit down
Mr.
and take a look at some of the biggest
Mouse
unresolved
Thrower.
mysteries that Gary's Mod has ever had to offer.
Lay it on me. Whoop, whoop. Viruses. I like this guy's
aesthetic. I think the possibility of Gary's Mod being infected with viruses is one of the most chilling ideas to just about any Gary's Mod player. Scary maps and strange occurrences are one thing, but the idea of somebody out there infecting a computer with viruses or malware
spooky GM construct
is a lot more of an urgent, palpable threat. After all, Gmod is a game that relies exclusively on content created by the community, and the idea that any one of your add-ons could be harboring malicious code or infected files is a pretty concerning subject. Which is why it's so interesting that, despite there being countless discussions regarding modern Gmod
this
viruses,
guy's name is Glowy.
Two of the most mysterious and most impactful Gary's Mod viruses are both
look at
pretty
those
old.
Weirdo.
These are two viruses that first started to spread a very long time ago, and also couldn't be
Look at those
any more
weirdo
different from each
viruses.
other. The G-Man virus and the Cough virus.
The G-Man virus?
Let's start off
Who's
with
the G-Man?
The G-Man virus.
The G-Man?
The G-Man virus was reported to have infected copies of Gary's Mod sometime around 2009.
Wow, that
the basic
early?
gist of the virus was as follows. You join a server or download an add-on, and upon trying to walk forward, or really play the game at all, your screen would become hijacked by a jump scare image of the G-Man's face.
Oh, that...
Followed by loud screaming noises, your game being frozen, and according to some reports, your web browser being taken control of. The G-Man virus is notable for really being one of the first ever reported cases of malicious files infecting Gary's Mod installations.
Oh my god.
The only real problem with the story as it stands, though, is that there isn't actually any concrete evidence that it ever even existed. The first time the G-Man virus was mentioned anywhere on the internet was in a comedy machinima video by Kitty0706. This is also the only footage of the virus online, and is frankly one of the only pieces of evidence that the virus ever even existed at all. Whether or not it's actually real, or just supposed to be a joke made specifically for the video, is pretty hard to say, as Kitty0706 had a pretty unique sense of humor.
Yeah.
Take a break like an hour ago. But Pops, I must make movie. Tough shizzle, turn it off and go play with your friends outside. But I'm afraid bald people might rip me because I like furries.
What?
Look then, son.
There are at least 3 old forum posts still on the internet talking about the G-Man
Oh
virus
man,
that
I love
somewhat give
Kitty0706.
existence.
I seen it.
Forum posts all came out
seen
after
it.
Kitty0706's machinima video, so it's entirely possible that the people behind these posts just made up a fake virus story based off of one they had seen in a machinima. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
I
that
couldn't
could
find a
be.
single mention of the G-Man virus.
Who goes on the
anywhere
internet
that
and
wasn't
tells
made
lies
after
anyway?
Kitty0706's
Kinda
video
cringe.
was already posted. While that doesn't definitively mean that it's fake, I think it's pretty weird that nobody talked about what was supposed to be a pretty widespread virus until Kitty showed it off in a comedy video. Interestingly, in a forum post from July 24th, 2009 on GameFAQs, a user posted the following, asking if anyone else had succumbed to the virus. Basically, if you have the virus, it makes it so that after a few minutes of playing, this happens. 1. You see a blurry, eyeless G-Man head occupied by an annoying screech.
Nimped
2,
by
either Firefox or
Chrisaster.
Internet Explorer, a bunch of tabs open that all play the sound of someone saying, "I'm looking at gay porno." 3,
Oh, that's a
you
clip!
connected to a chat room
Hey
called
everybody,
Nimped
I'm
by
looking
Chrisaster.
at gay
This is one of the
porno!
most interesting discoveries I made
That
while
one.
researching the G-Man virus.
I'm sure
This
someone's
thread
gonna
was
take that
also
clip out of
posted
context.
after Kitty0706's video, but it did have some unique air of authenticity to it. The Chrisaster he mentioned at the end of the post is a real person and was someone who was a pretty prolific Gmod hacker back when this was all going down, so the story did seem kind of plausible.
Ooh.
Thanks to these posts, I was also able to find these Steam community PSAs from server owners and operators that detailed how to remove the virus. And interestingly, despite them mentioning the fact that it would flash G-Man's face on your screen, none of them referred to it as the G-Man virus. One calls it the Chrisaster virus, and the other calls it simply the Gmod virus. So,
Gmod
the virus
virus.
could have been real all along and not just a shitpost turned urban legend, but we'd really have no way of knowing, considering it seemed as if just about everybody in the community had their own unique name for it. Either way, the facts are these.
Very interesting.
The first mention of the G-Man virus on the entire internet was in Kitty0706's video.
That is
That
very
video is
weird.
also
That
the
doesn't.
only recorded footage of anything even resembling the G-Man virus to ever exist.
That
3 to
is.
4 months after that video was initially posted, people finally started to discuss such a virus existing and actually affecting them and the servers they visited. So, the way I see it, there are 2 possibilities. Either a bunch of people started lying about a virus that never existed,
Or
because of
they
the
got
Gmod machinima
Mandelaed.
they saw, or this Chrisaster person saw the very same Gmod machinima, and given that he was already creating hacks for Gmod to begin with, decided to make the G-Man virus a real thing in an effort to cause mass confusion
Oh.
with Kitty0706's video. Confusion that clearly still persists, even to this day. Whether or not you
Very
believe the G-Man
interesting.
virus is up to you. But I think the fact that it was never mentioned once before Kitty's video was released means that it probably didn't exist when that video came out. The only questions left, though,
Oh.
are whether it was created because of that
I mean,
video,
Kitty was a
or
pretty
if it
small
never even
YouTuber
existed
back
at
then
all.
as well.
As weird as it might sound,
Like,
the
Team
G-Man
Fabulous
virus
2
has
was
the most
barely
legendary
a twinkle
status
in
among
his
Garry's
eye.
Mod players. So the fact that it's somewhat possible, and dare I say plausible, that it never really even existed.
G-Man is
is kinda
scary
crazy.
now. G-Man is scary now. He's
But what
always
about a
been
virus
kind of
that we're
scary.
absolutely sure exists? One that doesn't rely on the testimony of random forum users from 2008.
Yeah,
Well,
what about
Look no
those?
further than the cough virus. On April 18th, 2014, a Gmod Lua virus would be released in the Garry's mod, infecting Gmod's player base and some, if not most, of its most popular servers.
Oh.
Now, what do traditional viruses
But why
usually do?
is
I think most malware would try to steal your information, hold your computer's files
why is it
for
called
ransom,
cough?
and in general just do
Does it make your
malicious stuff
computer
to your
cough?
data and to your operating system. But that wasn't what the cough virus did. The cough
Well, what
virus,
did it
as you
do?
can maybe tell by the name, would cause everyone who came into contact with it to spam the message "cough cough" in the Garry's Mod text chat.
Oh.
That wasn't bad enough. It would also somehow send the words "cough cough" to literally every single person on your Steam friends list.
Wow.
As insane as
that
it might
is
sound,
insidious.
the cough virus was actually spreading from one player to another via coughing, just
Like
like
an-
a real virus would.
Wow.
What resulted was pure chaos. Thousands and thousands of players infected with a virus that would not only force them to cough in various Gmod servers, but also spam their friends with Steam messages.
Oh.
This guy.
That's playing Garry's Mod is hearing cough right now.
Apparently,
they're
it's
telling
being
me.
dubbed
Oh
the
no,
cough.
they're coofing.
Willie. Okay, this is what the admins in that one just said. Once
That makes me.
they carry it over to a
Oh my
different server and
God.
infects everyone in that server.
Oh man, also remember
Hundreds and hundreds of
TeamSpeak?
servers got infected by the so-called cough virus. All of them marked as infected by the presence of an exclamation point that the virus forcibly added to the start of the server name. It would also change all infected players' Steam names to Vin'll-Fix-It, seemingly a reference
Who's
to
Vin'll-Fix-It?
Kilburn, aka Vin, one of the lead programmers working on Garry's Mod at the time.
Oh.
It also just kind of put an image of a Chinese man eating a carrot on your screen. I actually couldn't find
Wait,
any surviving
what?
images of that part of the virus, but if I had to guess, it probably looked something like this. Probably. So I guess the only
Oh
question is,
my.
why? Why make a virus that doesn't do anything malicious and exists solely to make people cough inside of Garry's Mod servers? Well,
Yeah,
from what I can
why?
tell, the point of the entire hack was, ironically, to help Garry's Mod. Whoever
For
was
the
behind the
lulz?
cough virus did it for a very specific reason: to show Garry and Valve that an exploit existed somewhere in their system that could be used to deliver malicious files and content. But instead of
Oh.
delivering any sort of malicious wares into people's computers, he just made them cough, in an effort to bring widespread attention to the issue and get both Gary and Steam to patch the exploit. This was accomplished, as just 1 hour later, the exploit was fixed on both Gary's end and on Steam's end.
Wow,
There's no
crisis
doubt a much
averted.
easier way to notify Gary and Valve about this exploit, but I guess making a bunch of people cough everywhere and then showing them a picture of a Chinese guy is a lot funnier. And if whoever is behind this just sent a lame email, then I wouldn't be making this video right now. So I guess at the end of the day, they made the right call. Both the cough virus and the Gmod
very
virus
memorable.
are two of the most infamous attacks on Gmod ever carried out, and they couldn't be any more different from each other. When I think of the cough virus, I think, wow, that was kind of funny, and there's a pretty clear motive as to why it was carried out.
Yeah, it's kind of
It
funny.
wasn't just a random attack.
It's
and it
not like
wasn't ever meant to cause
it's
too
not
much
like the
damage to
TF2
Gary.
bot crisis now,
Gmod virus
where they
might
do it out
always
of
just be
pure
a mission.
maliciousness.
It's hard to say where the truth
And
starts
just outright
speculation
killing the
ends when it
game.
comes to the Gmod virus.
But yeah, seriously,
And
what?
after years
Then
and years
at
of
least
people investigating
TF2,
it to no avail, I think it's one
at least
Gmod
Team
mystery
Fortress
that we
is
might
getting
never have an
fixed,
answer to.
unlike the
And
other
maybe
Team
that's
Fortress
just the way it was
2.
meant to be. Who knows?
The other TF2 even. Rest in peace, Titanfall. Rest in peace. Spooky lost maps. Oh
this
my
is a
goodness.
Gary's Mod map called The Pit.
The
It's
Pit.
a sandbox map that got pretty popular somewhere around 2015, and it's most notable for featuring a big, giant, endless concrete pit smack dab in the middle of it.
Made in
There's just one
Abyss.
small problem. The map you see on screen actually isn't The Pit. It's a somewhat accurate recreation of what a Gmod map known as The Pit might have looked like.
Oh.
I would show you the real, actual version, but unfortunately I can't, because it's seemingly been lost forever. On May
Forever.
7th, 2020, a user
Gone
named
to the
Captain Pack
void.
posted on the Gary's Mod subreddit asking for help identifying an old map he had played on back in the day called The Pit. A request that, while probably a little bit annoying to people who actually use the subreddit on a daily basis, was not at all uncommon. He clarified that he was subscribed to the map for quite a while, and one day, for seemingly no reason, it just disappeared and he was completely unable to find it
Gone
again.
forever.
Now,
Poof.
posts like these usually resolve pretty quickly.
Whew.
Within hours, someone comes along, finds the map in the workshop, and shares a direct link to it, shutting down the thread and all discussion about that map almost instantly. But
Thank
that
goodness
wasn't
for
what
that.
happened. Kind of surprisingly, out of the 4 or so people that replied to the post, nobody knew what map he was talking about and were completely
I remember
unable to
there's
help.
like a GM
People who tried
construct
to find it
pit.
ended up just linking basically any map that had a big hole in the center,
Oh,
further
there-
muddying
yeah,
the
there it
waters
is.
and getting Captain Tack even further from his goal of
There it
locating the
is.
pit. At this point, by all metrics, the Gmod map known as the Pit, whatever it was completely lost, and nobody even knew about the map besides one guy, so the chances that it would ever be found were pretty much zero. The search for the pit would go dormant for another
Zip.
9 months, until another user named Goon73 came forward,
Goon!
not only with his own memories of the pit, but with a screenshot of the map in his subscribed add-on list on Steam. Goon shared some pretty important details that are probably the only reason we even know about the pit now, those being a screenshot of the map and a direct link to the add-on on the Steam Workshop. This was the first time that more than just a couple of people
Very
showed any
nice.
interest in finding the pit. People
A
from all
clue.
over began joining the hunt for the lost map, sharing obscure ways to somehow obtain the map file, and theorizing as to who had even created it in the first place.
Yeah, who
Amid the discussion,
made
another
this
user found a link to a
strange,
German-language Gary's Mod video that was
mysterious map?
seemingly a walkthrough of the map, which could have helped to narrow it down even more. Unfortunately, that video seemed to have been deleted by the uploader very shortly after it was linked in this thread, which makes this whole thing
For-
just a little bit more strange.
For
You'd
fuck's
think after
sake.
such an active and attention-grabbing hunt for the map that the pit would get found by some point, but since then,
Always
the search for the pit has
archive your
just
stuff,
gone
by the way.
completely
Always
cold.
archive your Gmod
Old
stuff.
Gmod saves ended up being found in the workshop that presented us with a few new images of the pit, and at least 2 people have taken the time to try and recreate the pit from scratch, using the very limited knowledge we actually have about what the map looked like, but for the most part, that's kinda just where the story of the pit ends. It's all a little bit
Aw.
strange. The way Gmod works means that when an add-on is removed, it doesn't just disappear from your hard drive. It's always going to be there unless you delete it yourself. Yet strangely, nobody seemed to have a copy of the map, despite it being fairly popular for years. I feel like the mystery of the pit goes a lot deeper than just a lost Gary's Mod map. Like, why was the original map deleted from the Steam Workshop in the first place?
Yeah,
Why did a
why?
German YouTuber who uploaded gameplay of the pit suddenly set the video to private? And
Yeah,
most
why?
importantly, why did nobody seem to have a backup of the map anywhere on any hard drive? It was almost as if somebody didn't want the pit to be found, which is strange because from what I can tell, it really is just a Gmod map with a big ass hole in the middle of it. I don't think the original version of the pit will ever be found. It's been nearly
Yeah,
4 years since the search
unfortunately.
started for the map at this point, and it's been even longer since the map was originally uploaded. I just can't help but wonder why
Man,
someone
this
would go
this
out of their
map
way
would
to
be
basically erase a map
crazy
from history
for
like
bungee
that.
jumping
And
or
also be baffled at the fact that it's even
such.
possible in the age of the internet to actually make something as mass downloaded as a Gary's Mod map disappear forever. Also,
Yeah,
just 'cause it's
how?
worth pointing out, the original description for the pit states that it itself was a remake of a more polished and better version of the map that he had made years prior, so even if by some miracle we were able to find the pit, we still wouldn't have the original version of the pit. All this time, the hunt for the original pit map has actually been the hunt for a remake of the original pit map, which is kind of funny. At least we can all still have fun kicking Dr. Kleiner down the pit, thanks to various recreations of the map on the workshop.
This is Sparta! Yeah! Sparta! But yeah, remember to back up your stuff, kids. Back up everything. And also that reminds me, I'm just gonna admit this right now. I have a YouTube poop that's called Sonic Colors, and I downloaded it and I tried re-uploading it, but the creator of the video is still active and copy struck it. So now I just hold that video forever, and I guess for legal reasons, I'm not gonna repost it. I'm just gonna keep it, hoard it forever. Unless you politely ask me for in my DMs, and then I'll probably send it to you. Spooky maps.
I feel like at this point, it's honestly impossible to discuss Gmod online without hearing about how it's home to a handful of so-called haunted maps. This phenomenon
Haunted.
ties in pretty heavily to the Gmod is unsettling trend that went around the internet a few years back.
Yeah, look.
And a handful of community-created maps that had any sort of nostalgic or creepy vibe were, for some reason or another, declared haunted by the community.
Yeah, Source 2 really, Source really do be looking liminal and kind of creepy.
Haunted meaning a digital ghost lived inside the map, causing weird sightings to occur, and generally just making the map feel strange. No map got assigned the haunted label quite as much as RP Downtown did, though.
Ooh.
Arguably one of the most popular Gmod maps of all time.
The RP.
You've probably heard the massively popular urban legend that surrounds the map,
The
but just in
RP.
case, I'll go over it one more time to jog your memory. Sometime around 2009, a Gmod player named The Pro created RP Downtown.
The Pro, look at
exclusively for
him.
use with the Dark RP
But
game,
Burger King
which was
Fedora,
Gmod's
man.
most popular roleplay-oriented experience. It quickly became a pretty popular roleplay map, spawning a countless number of community-made edits, and started to act as the default map for most Dark RP servers at the time. By 2012, rumors started by close friends of the Pro began to circulate, claiming that he had unfortunately passed away, allegedly taking his own life. Obviously, given the subject matter, nobody really looked too deep into this claim, and most people just paid their respects to a beloved community figure and moved on.
I'm sorry to hear
The
that.
fact that the creator of the map had allegedly passed away kind of just sat in the back of everyone's mind for a while, and it definitely wasn't something people regularly brought up when playing on RP Downtown, and it would stay that way for almost 8 years. But
Wow,
then sometime
8
around
years
2020, the Gary's Mod
without-
community at large started to see RP Downtown in a more nostalgic, creepy way, and began describing some
Spooky.
inexplicable sense of dread that came over them when they played the map alone in a single-player session. With the Gmod community unable to come up with a solid answer as to why the map felt so unsettling, they collectively decided sometime later that it must have been because the creator of it had died all those years ago. Well, this was fairly innocent.
I wouldn't say that. No, it just look at Source. Look at Source. It's so.
This relatively small
Look at
phenomenon
the Source
somehow
Half-Life
bloomed into a
assets.
full-blown
It's just so.
online creepypasta,
It's just
with
so
hundreds and hundreds of people saying
brutalist
they saw a
and
dark figure looming around the map in
spooky.
single-player mode, which they believe to be the digital ghost of the creator of RP Downtown, the Pro. Honestly, if I were a ghost, I think the last thing I would be doing is haunting a Gary's Mod roleplay map, but I don't know, that's just me. This claim that the dead creator haunted his creation would be easily some of the most mainstream attention that RP Downtown ever got, and to this day, people still tell that version of the story. That the person who made the map took their own life, and that somehow their spirit now inhabits the map, and I guess manifests as a black figure haunting random-ass 10-year-old Gmod players. But did the creator of RP Downtown really die?
Would you
Is
do
the
that
map
as a
really
ghost?
haunted?
Haunt
Well,
little kids,
on
spook
one
them
hand,
doing
this
oogie
forum
boogie
post from an
boogie.
online friend of the Pro should probably be all the evidence most people need that he actually passed away. But on the other, it's entirely possible that he just grew up and stopped playing Gary's mod. He'd have to be well past 30 years old at this point, and I think if you put aside all the creepypasta stuff and these idealized internet horror stories, there's a pretty good chance that the pro just stopped caring about Gary's mod.
Yeah, that's
Either
the more
way,
probable
author aside, as much as the idea
the
of
solution.
RP Downtown being
Really,
unsettling has been talked
people
to
grow
death,
up. People
I
just
think
kind
the
of
real reason it creeps people out is pretty obvious.
people just
and
kind
honestly
of
has nothing to do with
stop
the creator of the map
doing
itself.
things.
It's old.
It's
The
old.
weird feeling people get when playing RP Downtown has a lot less to do with a physical dark figure creeping around the corner, and a lot more to do with a theoretical dark figure creeping around the corner. That figure being the passage of time. Everyone who worked on RP Downtown
yes,
is probably
the
pretty old
passage
by
of
now,
time
or
is
at least
cruel.
old by Gmod player standards, and also probably don't care about something as trivial as Gary's mod anymore. And maybe, in a weird way, that fact scares Gmod players more than any G-Man-shaped ghost ever possibly could. I will admit that RP Downtown is strangely depressing, but that isn't because it's haunted. I think when people think of stuff that's old, they think of like old paintings, historical artifacts, and random junk. So the idea of a Gary's mod map, something so modern and emblematic of so many people's childhoods being old, is just weird. It feels
It's
wrong
not
to have
that
to
weird,
accept
like,
something that feels so
a lot of
novel
people like
is
to
decades old at
see
this point.
like
So,
nostalgia. Oh, sorry.
no, there are no ghosts on RP Downtown. Probably.
Or
Most of the ones you see
Or
on the
is
internet are just
there?
a guy who took a G-Man NPC and painted him black. And as for the claims of other haunted Gmod maps, those are probably just people trying to cash in on the popularity
ooh, it's
of
the
RP Downtown.
ghost.
RP Downtown, as odd and as unsettling
It's a
as it is
spooky
kind of beautiful.
ghost.
It's a reminder that we won't last forever, but the things that we create just might. Or something. Maybe it's just
Yeah,
a weird-ass
or
Gmod map that
whatever.
a Russian guy made 15 years ago, and it's scary because it uses textures that come from a scary game. I don't know.
Yeah, there
Whatever.
you go. It's
All in
just
all,
it's just
I think
Half-Life
Gary's Mod is a
just
game that
looks
gives
kind of
birth to mystery,
spooky.
not only because of how long it's been around, but also because
Load
of
up
how
the
weird it is.
cannon.
I mean, it definitely is not normal for one of the most downloaded PC games in the entire world to be a 20-year-old Half-Life 2 mod. That is undeniably very strange, and it's going to lead to some very strange occurrences. Whether it's more stories about strange forgotten maps or just another urban legend some guy made
Load
to
up the
scare shit
cannon
out
with
of Gmod's
dog.
player base, I think there's always going to be this strange sense of mystery surrounding Gary's mod and its community pretty much until the end of time. Whether that's a good thing,
Yeah.
I don't know. But it keeps people playing the game, I guess, so yeah. Make sure to leave a comment below telling me how awesome I am, and also like a boss.
Yeah,
Thanks for
like
watching.
a boss.
I've been ratlobber. Peace.
Peace. Egg. Piss. It's the piss. I love the PS. Gary's mod should be on the PS. Gary's mod should be on the PlayStation 4. I love Gary's mod.